Hello everyone, welcome to Just Invest Today, and today we're talking about Alibaba, man. Was Charlie Munger wrong for buying Alibaba? Did he buy it at the wrong time? What is going on with the stock? And that's what we're going to be talking about today because I hear so much negativity around Alibaba, about Charlie Munger saying, oh, he's not the same anymore. You hear it all the time on Twitter. It's like an ongoing thing. I actually had to, unfollow some people because it was getting to my head so annoying and just constantly saying the same things. Anyways, so we're going to get into this tweet right here, and we're just gonna decipher it. This is gonna be all my thoughts on what people are saying. I want your opinion. Just tell me what you think about Charlie Munger. Did he make a wrong decision? I'm gonna give you my thoughts, and I want you to leave a comment, like this video, subscribe. Tell me what you think about Alibaba, and is Charlie Munger wrong? Like that's the question we have to ask each other today in this video. So let's get with this. I'm gonna read this right now. See, the reason you don't just copy other people's investments is that other people are human and make mistakes. This is very key. He's saying that Charlie Munger already made a mistake. And this is a strong issue that we have in the investment community and even on YouTube and everywhere. If you don't perform the stock, if Alibaba stock does not perform in 4 to 5 months, 3 months, six, whatever, seven, a year, you made a mistake. That's how people are judging mistakes now. When you come to the YouTube community, if you don't make any progress in like 3 months, in a year, you've made a mistake on the stock. And guys, stocks don't work like that. Like, you can't predict where it's going to be in the short term. Just because you think that you bought it at a good price, you bought it at a good valuation, it's undervalued, that doesn't mean it's gonna like skyrocket in the next 6 months. That means nothing. Peter Lynch said his best investments took several years to make money for him. Several. His best investments. So what is that showing you? That we cannot predict in an auction-driven market where our company is going to be. So that's not a mistake. The mistake is actually buying a company, thinking it's undervalued, and the fundamentals of the company change. They don't do what you're expecting to do. The management changes. Something fundamentally changes within the company. That's the mistake. Not just buying something and the stock price doesn't do what you probably might think it's going to do. So that's the first thing that I feel like this is just a wrong tweet. And unless you do all the work, you are unlikely to figure out which of their ideas are mistakes. And this goes back to people. I agree with him there. Like, even though people like wanted to say, "Oh, we copy Charlie Munger," and he's saying people don't do the work. Yeah, a lot of people didn't do the work on Alibaba, but even if people didn't do the work, everyone knows Alibaba. It's just like, so, oh, I didn't. This is exactly what's saying, oh, I didn't do the work on Amazon. Really? Like, how obvious is Amazon? Like, how much work do you really have to do? Like, let's be honest. How much work do you really have to do with Amazon? Like, I did the work with Alibaba, but I'm just saying in general, how much work do you have to do with Amazon or Alibaba? They're the biggest platforms. Are you telling me that you have to do some crazy amount of work and you're not seeing what's happening in the world? Like, just open your eyes, bro. Like, you just have to open your eyes and see what's going on. You don't have to do some crazy amount of work and find the nooks and crannies of everything. Alibaba is the biggest e-commerce platform. The biggest e-commerce platform. Is it going to still grow as the population becomes more middle class, as e-commerce penetrates more of the economy? Yes. It's very simple. It's a very simple question. Is Alibaba going to be bigger 5 years from now? It's the question is so simple. I don't understand how people just blow over that. Is Amazon going to be bigger 5 years from now? How much work do you really have to do when you can answer a simple question like that with an astounding yes? It's inevitable. It's literally inevitable to be bigger. So forget what ideas are mistakes until you draw down 30% on it and whining on Twitter. And he's the one, and that's the thing, he's whining on Twitter about it. He's saying that everyone made a mistake, that Baba went down 30%. That's the huge mistake people made. So did we make a mistake buying Alibaba. So let's go. Let's go into the stock price. Let's see what's happening. Oh, Charlie bought it around whatever 220. We'll give him 220. That's when Charlie Munger bought Alibaba. It's at 151 right now. So at 220, he's had a 31%, 32% drawdown. So that's pretty significant, right? But that doesn't mean he made a mistake. Maybe you can say, oh, he bought it at the wrong time. But no one can guess when Alibaba is like, no one can just guess that. It's impossible. No one knew it was going to go 30%. If everyone knew that, no one would have bought it at 220. I bought it around like 260 back in the day. Even though my cost basis is so much lower now, but I bought it 260 or like around no like 250 around like 250. And that was a good price for me. I thought that was a good price. So you can't time when you're gonna buy a stock. It's impossible. But when you think about it, in 5, 10 years, do you think you're really gonna care if you bought it at 220, if you bought it at 210, if you bought it at whatever 180, if you bought it at what 260? Do you think it's really gonna matter 5, 10 years from now when the stock is at what 500, 600? Oh, you made 20% more? Like, how much is that gonna really matter when you plan on holding a stock for a very, very long time? And we know that's how Charlie Munger thinks. He's thinking in 5 to 10 year increments, like decades. He's not thinking about selling this next year, 2 years, 3 years. Look how long he's held BYD for. He held BYD for like 6 years before it made a huge jump until March 2020. He held it for that long, and then he's seen huge gains in BYD. So that's what you're gonna do. And Charlie Munger is amazing at deferring with gratification at his old age already. So let's get into the next question. Is Alibaba a value trap? And that's what I hear a lot. So we're gonna break some of these things. Is Baba a value trap? I hear that a lot too. So what makes something a value trap? People think so basically a value trap is buying something that's low, like undervalued, whatever. People think it's like a low PE, whatever. And it's a value trap because you're buying it cheap and it's not going to grow. Like the company is going to stay cheap. You're buying it thinking it's going to grow because it's cheap, but it's not. It's not going to grow at all. And that's what a value trap is. So is Alibaba that? Guys, Alibaba is growing at like 20 to 20%, 25%, and their whole cloud business hasn't even like made a stamp yet in the market. It hasn't even met close to its potential. It's like that minuscule on its potential. And people don't realize that. Like, holy crow. So how can Baba be a value trap when it's growing its top line, its bottom line? It's just growing. It's internally. The businesses are growing. It's expanding in different markets. Like, how can that possibly be a value trap? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. But I want to hear your opinion, guys. Do you think Baba is a value trap? Like, comment below. Tell me what you think, man. Because I want to hear different opinions. And then we have political risk, and that's the main thing driving Alibaba stock down. Like, the main question is the political risk. Is Xi Jinping gonna cancel Alibaba? And that's up for debate. People are on either sides when it comes to that, man, because in my opinion, I just don't see why he would just destroy one of the leading companies in China. If this is the company that's helping bring millions of jobs to China, right? That's their goal, to bring millions of jobs to China, to help the middle class, to expand technology in China. And that's the goal of Xi Jinping. So him doing that, just killing Alibaba, it doesn't make sense. But then there's also the U.S. Trade tensions with China, and that has some legs to stand on. Like, what if China goes to war? If China goes to war with U.S., investments don't even matter at this point. Like, it's gonna be a nuclear war. It's not gonna be some like men fighting on ground. like, come on, you think men are just gonna be running on ground like shooting each other? Like, this is gonna be a nuclear war. So China and USA have to work together. And then on top of that, do you understand the trillions of dollars they trade between each other? What would happen if they literally stopped trading between each other, US and China? That's trillions of dollars that's going out the drain. That's an economic hit for both economies. Like, I don't even want to fathom both of these economies taking trillion-dollar economic hits because they stopped trading with each other. Like, China buys most of USA products, right? Like, a lot of trade, a lot of like actual their buying power is getting US goods. So imagine all those goods not being bought by the Chinese. They have an agreement, guys. They have a solid agreement with each other. So you understand there is political risk. No one knows exactly what's going to happen. That's the risk that you get involved by what buying in China's. But there's political risk everywhere in Brazil, frick, in Mexico, in Turkey, and in Southeast Asia. Like there's risk everywhere. People just think it's that China is the main one, but there's risk everywhere, man. Like you just have to do your due diligence and figure out, is this like, do you have pain tolerance for this? Like, do you have that, right? Everyone's laughing at Charlie Munger saying that, oh, he's a bag holder, which is pretty funny. Like, oh, Charlie Munger's the bag holder. Like, he bought it at 220, 222, and he's just holding the bag now, wishing Alibaba goes up, man. And this is just funny, man. Like, people are just saying anything just for entertainment. Yo, Alibaba is like the entertainment stock. It's the most talked about stock, right? So we understand that we have to deal with all the trolls and everything like that. So we just have to have the mindset, a long-term mindset or goals, and just realize like Alibaba can come up from this, but if it can't, we have to be able to switch our minds too in case something fundamentally changes with Alibaba. So I want people to comment, like people who invested in Alibaba, what are you thinking about this bag holder and all that talk? People that are just not investing in Alibaba, tell me why. Like, what's your reasoning for just never going into Alibaba? Is it because you hate China? Like, what is it, right? And then I just want to say this too, like, nothing has fundamentally changed with Alibaba. Like, I remember reading some articles on people talking about Alibaba since the whole China Evergrande, since the whole the fine with Alibaba. People don't realize that Alibaba, the main business Alibaba, is 80% in e-commerce, guys. 80%. So what has, even with all the fines, even with all the political risks, with all the Xi Jinping telling Alibaba you can't do this, do that, the e-commerce business is the main business. Like, focus on that. Is it growing? Is that main business growing? That's what you gotta focus on. If you say yes to that, then just put your head down and just avoid all the comments, right? Just avoid all the comments. It's good to actually see the opposite point of view, but when we really break Alibaba down to its fundamental business, is the e-commerce business growing? And that's what we gotta look at, man. And if you can say yes to that, if you can say 5-10 years down the line, the e-commerce business for Alibaba is still gonna be growing, you have a solid investment. In my eyes, you still have a solid, strong, fundamentally sound investment. So don't worry about the 6 months, the 1 year charts, man. Let's look at the 10-year charts, the 5-year charts. That's what we want to focus on. Stop worrying. Stop looking at the freaking the shot clock at the game score. People are so focused on looking at the game score. On what's the score? Like, what's the score? Are we up 20 points? Are we up 15 points? Stop focusing on that. Focusing on what's happening in front of you, the playing field. You actually dribbling and shooting the ball. Like, focus on that. Stop looking up at the score and seeing where you're at. Just focus on what's in front of you right now. That's what we got to do with Alibaba. So guys, tell me if you like this video. Can you like it? Subscribe to my channel, and I get back to you in the next video. Peace.